What if the things that God whispered in your ear in private was never meant for it to stay in private? What if the revelation that God has given you was, was for us to proclaim that revelation on the rooftop, on the mountaintop for the world to hear? Jesus does not want us to be silent in the face of opposition. He wants us to proclaim with boldness and clarity and confidence in the face of fear. Today we're coming from the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 26 through 27. This is what it reads. So do not be afraid of them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What I tell you in the dark, speak in the daylight. What is whispered in your ear, proclaim it from the rooftops. Verse 26 is often quoted out of context. We've heard it say before. We've heard it say, whatever is concealed will be revealed. But according to this passage, this verse, this selection, Jesus spoke these words directly in connection to his disciples going from town to town, proclaiming the gospel while also being persecuted and being instructed to flee to the next town just to be persecuted again. Jesus, he wanted the disciples to know that, yes, he identified with them and he with him. And he also said, you're going to be persecuted. But he also said, if you endure, you will be saved. And now he's saying, everything that the world think is hidden, everything that your enemies think is hidden, it will be revealed in due time. So you can rest assured that the things that are done or being plotted to do to God's anointed, it will be revealed and no longer concealed. When we walk in proper alignment with the will of the Father, watch this, opposition will come. So expect it. The attacks will come. The ridicule will come. The judgment will come. The lies will come. The persecution will come. It's pretty much guaranteed that the opposition will come, the attacks, the ridicule, the judgment, the lies, the persecution. It's almost guaranteed, but Jesus is giving us the blueprint for what we are to do when we encounter these things in this world that we're in. Yet Jesus assures us that what is hidden will ultimately be revealed. Now watch this. He does not deny the strength of the earthly powers. He does not deny that there's going to be people in this world that will be able to inflict physical damage upon you, emotional damage upon you. He does not deny that, not one bit. Or does he not deny their ability to gather up around you, come together, and attack you? Instead, he reminds us that their hidden motives and schemes will not remain concealed. God himself will expose them. But then Jesus charges his disciples. He approaches his disciples. He tells the disciples, what I tell you in private, I want you to proclaim it openly. Revelation is never meant to be locked away for personal use. It is given for the sake of others to be released publicly. I can recall, I don't even know how many, but there's people who often approach me and call me and text me and reach out to me. And they were so moved by the things that I've written or some of the things that I have said. And they always ask if they can use it. But I can tell you that my response is the same across the board. My response is always the same. And this is what I say: I appreciate you asking. Glory to God. But I do not own the revelation. I'm simply the one that God chose to release it through. The revelation does not belong to me. The revelation that I receive, I am obligated to release it to the world. So, yes, people reach out. They don't have to, but it's a courtesy. But I'm here to tell you, anything that God gives me, I release it to the world. Because I know if God has given it to me, only but a member of the body, if I release it for the entire body, the more healthier and stronger we will be. Revelation belongs to the kingdom, not the messenger. So if you're someone who teaches and you're charging people to receive the revelation that God has freely given you, shame on you. The revelation does not belong to you. The revelation belongs to the kingdom. That's why Jesus pressed the point further. Proclaim it from the rooftops. See, in our modern lens, in our current society, we often read this as figurative speech. Oftentimes, we get this part wrong because we're looking at an ancient Eastern culture through a modern day Western lens. Yet in the culture of the time, it was literal. Important announcements were typically made from the rooftops because it was the most effective way to reach the masses. In those days, they had flat tops on their roofs. And also in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in Deuteronomy, I think 22, they were instructed to build parapets around their roof so no one would fall off. Not only was that to prevent people to fall off, but this flat top was the most effective way of broadcasting the message over the airwaves. Out in the open, on the rooftop, at the highest point, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, proclaiming the revelation so that the masses can hear it. When they received the revelation, or when it was time for an important announcement, or if there was declarations to be made, they were to go to the rooftop and they would proclaim whatever the message is. Because oftentimes people are always around, out and about, trading and bartering and transporting and doing all of this stuff. So the most effective way, they didn't have radios back then. They didn't have news stations. They had rooftops. Not only does the rooftop put you on display, but Jesus is telling them to proclaim the message on the rooftop, which is not only are they proclaiming the message, they are making a public declaration of their faith and who they are aligned with. So Jesus wants you and I to go on the rooftops and proclaim it. No more being secret agent Christians. No more only talking about your faith in the church building on Sundays. But we must get out in the open, out in the public, and make a declaration and proclamation proclaiming the good news. Don't be afraid of who you are aligned with. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed of being a disciple of Christ. Proclaim it on the rooftops so the masses can hear it. And in the modern day lens, proclaim it on your social media sites. Yeah. Proclaim it on YouTube. Proclaim it on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Proclaim it on every avenue that you have access to. The world is doing a very good job of proclaiming their demonic activities. Now it's time for us to step up and do the same. Mm. See, this is what Jesus precisely desired: kingdom truth to be declared publicly and as widely as possible. The message is not meant to be whispered in the corners, but announced in ways that cannot be ignored. Put yourself out there and start proclaiming the message, proclaiming the kingdom, proclaiming the goodness of the Lord. Because that day that you do, someone will be saved. I love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the support. And as always, thank you.